In Boston, a reminder of the enemies right here at home. Terror on our doorstep, knocking at our door. So, are U.S. police ready to fight it off? We caught up with former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani, who says that it's time to stop vilifying our police officers.
It is true for quite some period of time since last summer, the police in America have been unfairly targeted. The police in the United States, by and large, are some of our best people. They protect us while we stay at home nice and safe. And then if something goes wrong, everyone turns on them, and that's terrible.
Benjamin Collins is a U.S. Army Special Forces veteran, a Green Beret, served 3 tours of duty in Afghanistan. What do you make of this? Now we're seeing more and more of this on the home front. These guys were inspired potentially by ISIS, the social media dominance of this terror organization. How do the police thwart all these, so-called lone wolf attacks?
It's a very difficult job for the police to do, and certainly this is going to be a fight that we're going to either win or lose as a society together. And that's all the way up, I think, from the president's leadership all the way down to the beat cop who's trained to look for anomalies on the streets. Especially this enemy, I mean, they're able to recruit, train, and launch these individuals, in their very living room, and using the internet and things like social media. And I think, unfortunately, too, the social media is what, the intelligence apparatus has access to, but there's also an underbelly of the internet, right? That dark web, that they have these sites that are so difficult for them to actually get through and to find information. So it's a very hard fight, and I think we need to use every tool we have. Especially
since we've been discussing over the last week to 10 days the whole NSA battle.
Absolutely.
And now some would argue that the police are less equipped. Or if you agree with Rand Paul, they're more equipped. But whatever the case is, I always remain amazed that they're actually able to thwart these things. They were monitoring this guy 24 hours a day. They knew the minute he called his father and said goodbye, they had to move in.
Yeah, absolutely. And look, I think these police officers, as Mayor Giuliani rightly said, I mean, I think that they've been unfairly targeted, certainly from parts within the media. And I think they should be accorded the same respect as returning soldiers, certainly as I was. People thank me for my service all the time, and I think they should be thanked for their service because they are very good at what they do. And unfortunately, we've had a lot of years with a lot of threats. If you actually look at the number of threats that things like the NSA programs or others that within policing have stopped, I think it's a tremendous boon to what they do, and we should support them in every effort.
All right, I want to call your attention to this because what about the war on ISIS both at home and abroad? Retired General and former CIA Director David Petraeus said in an interview this week that the U.S. may be losing that war in Iraq.
Well, these are fights where if you're not winning, you're probably losing because time is not on your side.
And we are not winning.
Well, it's arguable now in Iraq. We'll turn it around. We will win again in Iraq. We've got to do a lot more in Syria.
Well, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi appears to point the finger back at General Petraeus. Listen to this.
I remember going over there on any number of occasions and hearing from him on some of them that he had trained 175,000 Iraqi troops and personnel so that they can take over their own effort. So I would ask him about that. I think that the number was far smaller than was represented to us.
So is it time for reevaluation? Ben, I'm interested in your thoughts by both of those points of view.
So look, first, this comes from, Nancy Pelosi. I mean, I don't think I could have heard something more disingenuous from an individual. And this is the same person that said we have to pass a bill before we know what's inside of it. So the reality is we had our best soldiers training their best soldiers. And for years, we did great work over there. But when we left Iraq, we took not just, some of our largest assets, but we took their confidence, right? So the Iraqi soldiers are having to go out there without medevac, without medical evacuation capabilities, without close air support. So they knew every time with Americans standing by them that if they got in a tough spot, we were going to be there to help them out. And we're not there anymore, so it's no surprise to me with just a few years of support from us that these guys are turning around and leaving the city.
And while everyone's pointing fingers at everyone else, there's total turmoil happening overseas. All right, Ben Collins, thank you for your service.
You're very welcome.
And your time on The Real Story today. A family and community and a nation in mourning today as the body of Beau Biden lies in honor at the Delaware State Senate in Dover. The son of Vice President Joe